Okay guys, this is our fluorescent section of our lighting. Okay, this is what's called a wrap. Wraparound is because it has a wraparound lens on it. It has covers. And this is what's called our ballast. Our ballast sits inside the fixture. We have multiple, from single tube up to 4 tube electronic ballast that could do up to 4 lamps with one ballast. Okay, this is a 2 tube ballast. They go from 120 volts to 277. They're called IntelliVolt. Okay, here, let me flip it around where they can see it better. So what we're going to do today is we're going to learn how to exchange the ballast if the ballast fails. So if the light's not working, we got to swap the ballast out. So what you got to do is turn around. Normally you cut these lamp leads because the ballast was in there permanently. I'll show you just like this because it's hard to get them out. Take apart, again, cut, take your ballast out, tear your bad ballast out, put your new ballast in. Anytime you're taking it out, put it in, hook it down. Okay, now on your electronic ballast, guys, if you notice, there's the red and the blacks. When you're dealing with a ballast that is a magnetic, the red is basically going to be your yellow, 2 yellows, and you're going to have 2 blues and 2 reds, okay? This being an electronic ballast, you just basically have 2 blues and your red. So your blues are going to go to your blues and your reds to your reds. Pretty simple here. Not a lot of brain surgery in this one. Okay, anytime you want to redo your leads, because your leads, they're always messed up. Cut it, put a fresh lead on the end of it. Turn around, take your wire nuts. Again, end to end. See how that moved when I put that in? End to end, twist. You feel it twist good. Now see when I undo it, how I'm twisted good right there? That's when you know you got a good connection. Okay, same with this one. Now in the real world, I would cut these down a little bit to make them match. I wouldn't leave the leads as long. I'd cut them down so I didn't have to fold these or make it uniform, make it look good. Okay, tie those in like that. Take my reds, tie my reds together, and that's how I turn around and exchange the ballast out. Okay, so I just replaced the ballast in this fixture that was bad. So now I put new tubes in it, it would work. Okay, so let's say if we needed to make this an emergency light, okay, and we had to add emergency power to it. So to do that, we got to put what's called an emergency lighting packet in. Now, for you to hook up an emergency light, you have to have constant power fed into your unit, okay? So you can't, an emergency light basically has to have your switch power and your constant power wired in place, okay? So to turn around, the screw on that must be missing. Okay, so this is our emergency lighting ballast. And every time you pull these out, you're going to have to get the instructions out and read it to make it work. Trust me. This goes into there like that. Then we got to turn around and get our instructions out. So what we do now is you got instant start. You got 2 lamp instant start ballast. That's what we're hooking it to. Okay. So what we need to do now is you need to take your blue and white and yellow and white together. So that's right here. on your multi-pack. Blue and white and yellow and black. Yellow and black together. Okay, so you see how they've been put together on here? So that's good. So now we need to go blue to blue. So we bring our blue out of here, tie it into our blue here. Okay, so we're going to unhook this blue. Okay, so now our blue coming out of our ballast feeds into the emergency light. Okay, so what we got to do, let's cut those. So now we're feeding the power from our ballast into our emergency ballast blue. Okay, so that's hooked up now. Now we need to find our yellow coming out of the ballast goes back into the emergency light. So here's our yellow coming out of our emergency ballast. We have to wire that in now to our emergency, back to our pin that are on the instructions. Okay, almost there. So now, let's see, we got to take our white to the white and red. So our lead coming off of the ballast, our neutral coming off of the ballast itself, our white is now going to hook to the white and red of the multi-pack. So here's that. We got to take this and wire this to this. Okay. Let me see one of the 10s. Okay, got that done. Now our blue, okay, now our red off of the ballast ties in with the emergency connection. This red. So the red coming off of here now has to tie into the red coming off of the actual ballast. Again, a lot of these wires I cut and make them the exact length needed, but I'm not going to cut them in class just because. But I would cut this red just a few inches to match. Yeah, because there's no need to have 6 feet of wire inside the fixture when you're trying to do it. Okay, and basically this is the lead that feeds our emergency ballast, is our black and white here. This is our power that feeds. Okay, so, and all these wires are zipped up. Okay, let's for a second. So we have our light that we installed our emergency unit in. This is usually drilled into the cover underneath, so you don't see no wires exposed or nothing. Now we just turn the regular fixture. When you lost power, it's going to come and then your emergency light kicks on and stays in. That's the difference. Power is restored, power comes on, it clicks back in and out. Oh, when the power is restored, the fixture will return itself back to its normal function. I'm going to take this fixture and convert it to LED. Okay, so we're going to eliminate all the ballast inside of it. Everything inside of it is going to be gutted out. Anytime you're going to LED, a lot of the LED tubes today turn around and they're straight what's called line voltage. Okay, and line voltage tubes are not needed, no ballast, they're straight what's called line voltage. So we're going to turn around and gut this fixture out now and make it an LED fixture. So we're going to start with this. Get everything torn out of it. anytime you twist these, you see how hard it is to get them apart. That's why you got to be careful not over twisting these. You want your connections tight, but not too tight. Okay, let's take these out. So what we got to do, we're going to take out our emergency ballast. We're going to take out our regular ballast. Okay. Everything will be gutted out of this fixture now. That should come undone. Okay, so now all you have is straight power hook. So anytime when you're going to line voltage, like we're going to do to LED right here, what you got to do is you're going to take your straight power coming in, basically, and you're going to make this straight power. So you might need a piece of wire, because for this to go down to here and for that, you need a piece of wire. Doesn't matter what colors you use for what. I usually use my red for my neutral and my black is my whites. So I'm going to turn around and hook power, hook my red to my neutral. On my power coming in, I'm going to take my blues both together to my power coming in, to my line. I'm going to make sure I'm grounded. Okay. Cover on it. Now I put my LED tubes in. Okay, now on your LED tubes, there is a line and a low neutral on the ends. See how it says L? And then on this end, it'll say N for your neutral. We had our power on this end, so our line's going to be on this end of the fixture. So now we turn around, put these in like this. Straight shot. Yeah, that's our neutral. We want to be on this side. Okay, so now we've retroed to LED. Go ahead and plug them in. It's that easy. So you just tore out the ballast now. Tore out the ballast, tore out all the guts, and wired it all direct line voltage, and that's when you get your straight LED. This is more in your fluorescence right here. This is what's called a troffer or a drop-in. This is what's in all suspended ceilings. Every room that has a suspended ceiling has what's called a drop-in. You take these drop-ins in, drop them, take them up into the T-bar and drop them in. And then once you drop them in place, you have to screw through the T-bar in and then wire opposite corners through the holes. They need to be wired up into place. The troffer turns around. It's just like a normal fluorescent fixture. It opens up, has a door. They come in 2 to up to 4 tubes. They're the same exact design as a fluorescent inside. See how this has 2 separate ballasts in it? So this has one ballast that controls just the one center tube, and the other ballast controls the 2 outside tubes so they could have 50% lighting. And that's basically a troffer. Again, troffers, once you drop them in place, you have to screw them in and wire them in. 4 screws and 2 wires, one on each opposite corner. Another thing, if the troffer, if the lens falls and breaks, grab and keep every piece, because they don't sell the lenses. you'll have to replace the whole tropper. And you don't want to do that. You want to just rebuild the lens. Trust me, they make rivets. You can rivet everything back together, and yeah, it makes it so much easier. Yeah, trust me. Came out wrong. Okay, good.